What's a deal breaker when it comes to dating? Lying and dishonesty. Dated one guy who wasn't honest with things at work. We worked together, and whenever I caught him doing something wrong and asked him about it, he would say things like what the boss doesn't know won't hurt him, and would also use that phrase for things related to his family. Gave him a chance, and I did tell him that I didn't like what he was doing, but realized that if he could repeatedly do that without guilt at work with that as his motto, being with him wasn't gonna be good in the long run. She believes in astrology or Wicca or any of that shit. She's into gossip, talks about other people all the time. Smoking. No interest in fitness, health. Not knowing what she really wants, not having goals. People who don't know what they want are basically adrift, can't trust them. Body count, age 8. If you can have a serious relationship, can't be single for more than 5 minutes, you're def not my type. Not wanting kids. Being a picky eater. If I'm going to share literally thousands of meals with this person, we should generally be on the same page about food. This is from growing up with a father who has ARFID, which basically means he is an adult with the diet of a particularly picky toddler. Meats and carbs only, nothing outside the beige spectrum, nothing spicy or sour. You get handsy, touchy, or shove your tongue down my throat in public on date 1, you're out. Number 3 strikes. You're already out. Period. Show some goddamn respect. If you wanna pay my bill, kiss me, hold my hand, anything, you ask. In a kind and humble way. I abide by these rules out of respect. So should men. The audacity. If we clearly don't share the same moral values. Smoking anything is a deal breaker, but using edibles, drinking alcohol, and vaping are not, provided that none of these habits are excessive. If they drive drunk. If they broke up with their most recent ex less than 6 weeks ago, or less than 6 weeks after a traumatic event. I try to be open-minded, but I really dislike drinking and smoking. Like the only situational appropriate time it's appropriate is occasionally, like holidays or us. So frustrating. Smoking I dislike because of odors, drinking because it's really frustrating to deal with that all the time. I feel like if I was to mention to everything that has either happened or might happen, it would be a long list, and yet I actually don't go around with a list in my head of what you should or should not be. I would be equally interested as not to see the answers to this question before and after. My ex would treat his mom horribly, very condescending to her, treated her like his maid, would get into arguments with her over the smallest things. It rubbed me the wrong way. Moving forward, the biggest thing for me is seeing how someone treats their family or just others in general. This might mean that your deal breakers are a person with no depth, an unkind heart, a selfish and inconsiderate person, or someone that lacks intellect. If you want substance, something like their tire, car, or a current living situation won't be a deal breaker because it's all changeable. Selfishness, bitterness about everything and how everything isn't good enough for important lesson learned in the latest. She thinks that everything and everyone around her isn't good enough for her and that she deserves more than that's gonna bite you in the ass later. This one is very specific, but it's when they have dated before, made mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, the mistakes are not what bother me, and don't try to fix them or do better. Because all of the mistakes will be made again, and it shows that they're lazy and not worth your love. I've got a few. Not letting you have time with friends, family. This happened to me. Gaslighting. Constantly flirting with others, but gets mad when you simply want to discuss it. Or, just being an asshole. Total deal breaker, lol. Vaping. Smoking. Drugs. Will not be with someone who does any of that. Ideally no alcohol as well, but I feel like with a little work I'd be able to accept a little drinking from a partner. No drunkenness though. Dated one girl that was just super depressing. All she ever did was complain, but was also unwilling to do anything about the situation or just come up with excuses on why she couldn't do something. Apart from the clear red flags mentioned here, how a person processes and communicates their feelings usually makes or breaks relationships. Can't resolve conflicts if you can't talk to each other. Telling me that you're an empath unprovoked or that everyone you've dated is an abusive narcissist. It usually either means you're the problem or you have more trauma than I have patience. How they speak of others. Is it all negative? Is it positive? Also for me, I wanted to date someone who had the same religion and morals as I did. And someone who loves their parents, too. Extremely religious, smokes all the goddamn time, cigarettes and no poly. I physically cannot stress that enough. I've got trauma tied to polyamory and I don't want anything to do with it. When you're attempting to share your feelings with them about something that bothered you, and they immediately get defensive, accusing you of starting anew. Next. Honesty is. If someone isn't genuine or lacks honesty, that's a definite deal breaker for me. But hey, The right person will always value honesty as much as you do. Emotional immaturity, closed-minded. If he wants kids, I don't want kids, and I don't think you can compromise in this area. Dishonesty, etc. etc. Surprisingly bad teeth. Means you don't care for yourself in my book. I want to kiss you without worrying I'm going to contract some disease. Got a few. Smoking, disrespect, disregard of my feelings, and lying. It's not a long list, but it's things I won't tolerate. Someone who believes in astrology, vegan, vegetarian, open relationships. These are my deal breakers from the top of my head. Deal breakers in dating are things that are unacceptable to you, like dishonesty, lack of respect, or incompatible values. I'm happy no one so far has said a mental illness. I'm bipolar 1 and have been trying to find a partner in life for a while. Not to have any children they don't bother to see. Whatever the bull excuses. Women do better with what you believe. Having an Android, it's how petty it is. I can't with the green messages, and Android users are odd. Sorry not sorry. Male here, and I am sure I will get downvoted. If I find out my date is penis but identifies as a woman. Smoking cigarette. I don't have anything against smokers in general, but I just never wanted to date one. Giving me more attention when they think I'll get in bed with them instantly, and less when I say no. Instead of discussing what's bothering them, they give you the silent treatment. Petulance 100. When she looks like Salma Hayek with makeup but without it looks like Danny Trejo. No bueno. Geeps. Don't call me a girl. Insta unless they just wanna be a fling. Also, I like smart men. Yelling and swearing at me with no attempt at respectful communication when in a disagreement. First on your list should be maybe heroin addiction and so on. Trust me, for some reason, someone being into me is a huge turn off. I think it shows poor judgment. The date being obsessed with themselves or continually talking about their ex-partners. My ex is my best friend, we want each other to move on and be happy. Nope. If they want kids. Also if they are religious or politically extreme. Single mom, sex worker, narcissists, ugly, over 35 and entitlement. If she likes alcohol just a little too much. Once in a while is okay. Mine's smoking, which is unfortunately common at my age in the US. You did not smell his bad breath before you started dating him. When they start breastfeeding their cat during a conversation. If she punches me hard in my face multiple times and runs away. I need a real man. Good sign that you're only half the person. Not being on the same page about wanting or not wanting kids. As with many things, the answer is liking Jordan Peterson. Poor hygiene, namely, teeth. I cannot stand awful teeth. Being into me in the first place would be a huge red flag. When it's obvious from their breath how much they smoke. Poor hygiene, no large career goals path. Bad attitude. When they keep past Tinder dates around just in case. Can't admit they're wrong or apologize when they are. Not being a 304 and you're off to great start for me. If he wants me to have his kids or become a stepmom,